Yes,
Is
we
that
can see your presentation.
oh, is it see? Yeah.
Uh,
Are you
it's
able to see it?
it's white now.
Oh, it's white. Just a second. What about now?
Okay. We can see it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Um, so this is one of my favorite quotes from data synthesis, as Sabrina already introduced the topic. Uh, Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is enjoying the conference. I'm very jealous that I'm not in Korea right now, but nevertheless, I am trying to make the most of this presentation. So today I'm here to present a data synthesis method uh, for design research, and it's called multimodal mind mapping. I'm Varun Sai Koruprolu from the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, and my co-author, Professor Gourab, is from IIT Delhi. He has already presented and is going to present another paper. This method, or the mind mapping method, was used already for a project that involved synthesizing research and creating solutions for people with visual impairments. And yeah, data synthesis is used in any kind of design process, right? So I think it's a very essential, it plays an essential and a key role in design process. But translating the raw data we collect from primary and secondary research and convert them into design concepts is very tricky and challenging. So in any design process, we start collecting data from some source. The sources can be readings from books, articles, and papers, observations on field, and even conducting interviews and talking to relevant stakeholders. This data can be in different modalities. It can be an audio recording, video recording, or just pictures from our camera. And it can also be some field notes and text document on our systems, which we type. So my research question here is, how do we represent this raw data visually to creatively synthesize and generate contextually relevant design concepts? So the method should be able to generate more insights and ideas. It has to ideate using raw data as the base, and it should accommodate any modality of data. And also, of course, it should be easy to apply and understand. So in any traditional synthesis method, we collect the data first. Then is when we do textual thinking, synthesizing data into reports and memos. We use all sorts of coding and thematizing methodologies. And after the reports, we directly jump into ideation. But sometimes we represent the synthesis in a mind map format for better comprehension. So it's just for us to connect and understand the insights better. And then we create or generate design concepts based on the reports and mind maps we have as a base. So in multi-model synthesis, in the method I suggest, we collect data, but we combine textual thinking and visual thinking together, and we call it multi-model mind mapping. So here we synthesize and ideate on the mind map at the same time using the raw data we collected. And next step, we don't ideate now, we do concept detailing at the step. And we use the multi-model mind maps as the base for concept detailing. We don't use the memos or reports anymore. So there are three layers to this synthesis method, and it's color coded. So the first layer is the blue color. It is layer one. So all the visible data you see around you, it contains raw observations, interview data, and all the data we see on the internet. We read papers. The second layer is red. It's layer two. This is the invisible insight we try to uncover from the data we collect. So any interpretations or reflections, or any other information which you think you could have found out by reading this raw data is what you write in this layer. The third layer is in green color. It's layer three. It's idea formation. You extrapolate design concepts and features or directions from layer one and two. Um, Very quickly, you'll understand what I mean. Uh, so, how would it look in a mind map form? I think we are looking at that part right now. So, say we have an X stakeholder. We have interviewed somebody called X. This would be the first thing he said, which is the visible data when I interviewed him. And layer two will be the invisible insight I inferred or I sort of read between the lines, or something was hidden and I tried to note down. I write it down here. And layer three is the idea formation. Immediately when I do this chain, I sort of look at my layer one and layer two and try to extrapolate an idea. It can be very impractical, or it can be a design feature or a behavior you noticed, and that can be in green color. So this entire chain from layer one to layer three leads to a multimodal path. So that's your cognitive path, essentially. And so this is how it would branch out with more data, and it eventually would lead to a mind map format. I numbered each part A, B, C, D, E, and F, just for reference. So there are two key features of this method. Um, we can isolate each layer to think differently, and you can isolate it differently. And but you always know where the source of your idea is. And in the second key feature, you see it says cross pollination, right? You can mix and match your insights and mix and match your raw data with your insight with your raw data, and create more ideas out of it. And when you read those layers all together at once, you have more possibilities of creating more ideas, is the proposition. So I would like to share an example from the project we worked on with persons with visual impairment, uh, shortly known as PVI. So PVIs do not go to shopping on their own. They take their friends or family when they buy clothes at a mall. So the insight is that shopping tags are not in Braille. They're not printed in Braille. It's a flat tag which is printed without any embossing. So if naturally they can't refer to any information, they don't know what is the size of the shirt, company of the shirt, what is the color. And so there's so many parameters to understand when you do shop for yourself. And I think that is the invisible insight here. And the very basic idea is, can we develop a tag scanning solution that gives audio informations about any clothes we carry or we eventually would want to buy, is what I mean. So this is a simple example which starts from layer blue to red to green. So this is a real example of a multimodal mind map, it was used to synthesize interview raw data. And the zoomed in circle is an idea for making face masks, which has different facial expressions, so that people with visual impairments can touch and learn what expressions are. Because at a very young age, if you don't know how to imitate expressions, eventually when you grow old, there would be a difference of how you express yourself through your face and what you talk. So we thought this is an interesting intervention to propose for people with visual impairments. And this is an example of how this method would be used to synthesize data from videos and pictures. Like, as we call this method multimodal, uh, we can synthesize any modality of data, and hence this is a video or picture analysis we are doing where we are screenshotting key moments from the videos and putting it in a collage form and using the multimodal method. So the zoomed in circle again suggests a solution for musical zips. Uh, there's again very an interesting insight we found where all the children are paranoid that their friends would steal something from their bags. So that was a concern, that was a privacy concern which was raised by adults as well. So we thought if the zip can make loud sound when it is opened, uh, the owner of the bag would get warned and sort of check if there's something wrong with his bag. And there's an example of how we can isolate all the layers with fully on Photoshop, tools like Photoshop. So this would be layer one, this would be layer two, and this is layer three. And together we have a multimodal mind map, which has visible data and invisible insight. And the idea is from layer one and layer two. I'll go over it once again. This is the stakeholder. These are the visible data which he provided to us. And this is the invisible insight which came out of it. And the idea layer again. So coming to strengths, you can pinpoint the source of idea like I just showcased. Um, you can synthesize all modalities of data. Again, I think that was pretty clear from the examples I showed. You can cross-pollinate and generate more ideas by having more permutations and combinations. And it's also easy to share and understand within a team, or if you're sharing it with your students or teachers, or even if it's a common man, or even if it's the stakeholder who you're showcasing, hey, this is how I understood what you said, and this is my thinking. Is this right? So it's also easy to take feedback from people when you're doing your synthesis because they're actually reading your connections, which I call it the multimodal paths. And weaknesses is that it might not be very efficient for numeric data as of now. I've not tested it yet. Generalizability, I need to test it in different contexts. It was only tested in a context of a school with students with visual impairments. Uh, and the data size, it needs to be tested with a small data set to a large data set. This is actually a 6-month project which we tried to use this method on. And of course, it's a physical mind map. You cannot erase or move data here and there because I did it physically. I would like to test it on platforms like Miro or collaborative platforms like FigJam and etc. And would like to get the results from there. My weaknesses would eventually be my future work. Um, and that is Professor Gaurav explaining the mind maps to one of our colleagues. And that's how all the mind maps were synthesized during our project. It looks very colorful and it actually also motivates you to work. Um, and I think when you see lots of sticky notes and colors, I think I don't know what it is, but it makes you want to work further. And yep, thank you, Gamsamida. Uh, Reach out to us if you have any questions. These are our mail IDs, and that's the QR for my LinkedIn. And lastly, I would like to end it by reading this quote to you. Synthesis is where the magic happens, where seemingly disparate insights coalesce into patterns that turn data into meaning and meaning into actionable design, inspired by the renowned Han Naman and Grisma. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there
Yeah.
any questions for this presentation? No questions. So thank you,
All
Varun,
right.
very much.
Thank you.
The next presentation is